Hey, all right. Hey, guys, first of all, sorry for running a little late. I got involved in talking to our guest, and I'm like, time just flew by. So that was my fault for those of you who were there at 6 o'clock. And you're going to see why I was so involved once you meet her. I mean, just an easy speaking, graceful person. And man, she's going to come and drop some fire nuggets. So, like we always say, make sure when you come on, you let her know where you're coming from and show some love and drop some questions. And you at the end, as always, you'll be able to find out how to reach her and all these other things. So welcome to a special Friday evening, early evening session with Conversations with Geoff. And I am your host, Geoff Tyson, affectionately known as the Comeback King. I want to thank Conversations with Geoff again and Comeback King Enterprises for putting these things together and sharing the vision and the mission, which is to amplify the message worldwide that you're going to hear today about understanding that the comebacks in our lives are designed as a lifestyle and not a limitation, right? That the struggles are built to design strength. The setbacks are created to find out who you really are. And most importantly, taking that stinking thinking from all the struggles and finding truth and stepping into your purpose. So you're going to hear from our amazing guest coming up how she did that, right? And so as always, I'm going to go through a quick review of her bio, and then we're going to get her up here. So make sure that you let us know where you're coming from and support her, right? And go like and share at Conversations with Geoff, and let's get busy, right? Because, man, I was just talking to her, and it's just amazing what we're going to get into, right? So my guest, Dr. Valerie Stancill, is a 9-time Amazon best-selling author, global speaker, certified domestic violence advocate, and founder of Healing Hearts Empowered. And she's also an author and has a groundbreaking book. Check this title out, right? Listen to me. I'm going to read it really slowly so you can hear it. Wolf Behind the Cross. She exposes the painful reality of narcissist abuse within religious spaces. And you guys know how we do it, Conversations with Geoff. We bring the truth no matter where we speak it from, right? And not something to complain about, but something to educate, something to shed some light on, some things that some people may not talk about. Where manipulation hides behind scripture and trauma often gets mistaken for loyalty. And this is why this conversation matters. Too many people are performing strength instead of living healed, carrying emotional wounds that they've normalized, getting used to the pain, and staying silent to protect spaces that broke them. And you know how we love it at Mirror More with Conversations with Geoff. We're going to help you get some awareness, find some relief, and rebuild. And this is about, she's going to share healing emotional trauma, reclaiming your voice, breaking cycles of abuse, baby, and finding peace, power, and identity once again. So help me bring to the stage my dear friend and our next guest, Dr. Valerie Stancill. What do you say, Doc?
Hello, how are you? Finally, I get to be on your show.
Yeah.
We get to have a conversation.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Yes,
thank you for your grace. I mean, I've dropped the ball several different times, and it's just true character, example of your character and forgiving and graciousness. So I do truly appreciate you being here tonight.
My pleasure.
Yes. And I was telling them that, we were talking, and I kind of lost track of time, and you were just so eloquently sharing your journey about the things we're going to talk about. I hate to have you rewind it, but I think people need to kind of maybe hear what that was. I mean, because it was really there. But so I've introduced you and you told you all the great things, but let's kind of get into it. I mean, I don't know if you want to reset it. Tell me how you would like us to continue our conversation and bring the people into that.
We do just like you were doing. We're just having a conversation.
Yeah. And we were talking about, guys, and whoever is here right now, just how her situation, can I just share, Doc, what it was being married to a narcissist in a religious community where there's just all kind of stuff going on. So kind of help us kind of maybe where you feel like you want to start with them and letting them know where you were. And maybe, I always like to say, how was it when you first found out?
Devastating, as we would think it would be. Very devastating because I lost a lot. Excuse me. I was homeless. My money was gone. My credit was ruined. and my life was ruined. You know, it was not where I came from. That's not where I came from. And to be in a car with someone and hearing your husband talk about you to another woman, saying things that he couldn't say to you, even though I asked him, because you know, as a narcissist never takes accountability. He will never, he or she, I will say they never take accountability. Everything is always your fault, or it will be gaslighted to make you think that the lie that they told you might be a lie that you created. You know, it's
Mm-hmm.
really hard to understand the characteristics of a narcissist. And a lot of women that I mentor, that I coach, kind of have an idea something is going on, but they don't actually realize that their husband, their intimate partner, could be a narcissist. And not everyone is a narcissist. Let's clear that up right up front,
Right. Right.
because narcissism is thrown around now like it's an epidemic. You know, he
Yeah, it is.
control you. He's a narcissist. But for me, if you look at the characteristics of a narcissist, he fit every one of those.
Mm.
And he acted in that way. Is he a diagnosed person with narcissistic personality disorder? No, he's not. But, you know, for me, my experience, my research, he is a narcissist.
Yeah.
And he exemplifies everything about one.
Yeah.
That's where we are.
So let me just ask them, for those that hear this message later on, and kind of like maybe in the fog they sense some things. What can you kind of list a couple real glaring things that, well, I don't know if they're glaring, but they're kind of like they're really real, but you kind of you deny them or you don't accept them, you rationalize them away. Before we move away from this, can you kind of share some of
Yeah.
those things for people?
Some of the things, one of the things that is the hardest for anyone, male or female, to comprehend is the love bombing stage. They
Mm,
will be your bestest buddy. They will do everything that you want to be done, because what they do is they study you, they pick you. That's another
mm,
thing. They pick you by different things that are going on in your life, especially if you're having some type of hurt, or you're some. For me, I'm a woman, so you're a powerful woman. They don't pick just anyone. You have
mm-hmm.
to be established. You have to be, about something. And the love bombing is, if you like chocolate candy, he's going to buy you a chocolate candy store. And whatever it is that you like, he mirrors you.
Mm,
He wants to become you, because a narcissist has nothing. That's
yeah.
why they pick people to fill the void that they have, for lack of a better term.
Okay.
So
Okay.
you look at the love bombing and you're like, oh my God, he did this, and oh my God, he does that. He always calls me. He always texts me. He might call you 25 times.
Mm,
He might text you all throughout the day. That's not normal. It's excessive.
yeah.
You mistake it for love,
Yeah. Yeah.
because where are you at that you can't see the difference?
Yeah.
Or you can see the difference and you don't want to face it.
That's it.
It's a red
That's it.
flag that you think is yellow, and amber. It's red, and red means stop. It doesn't mean proceed. It's
Right.
not, you can say it's a circus coming to town, because it's a circus. Those flags are for a clown in the circus, because I can joke about it now.
Yeah.
But that is one of the things, control. And as soon as you tell them no, you're fine until you say no.
Mm,
They want, and then that's when they start. I can't control her, so I
yeah.
don't be with her anymore. The infidelity,
Mm,
pathological lying, gaslighting, I mean, the list goes on, but those are the glaring ones that
Yeah.
you see, but sometimes you don't see because you don't want to see, because you would rather settle than be alone.
Yeah, and truthfully too, Doc, I mean it's kind of nice to be overshowered with what feels like love.
Hmm.
It's kind of nice to be the center of attention, right? Even men and women, like you said, it doesn't matter who. A narcissist doesn't discriminate, right?
Yeah,
It's female, male, doesn't. So that's the true thing, and so you see that, and like anything else, you kind of, you just, I guess after a while it becomes more normal than it is. Uh, Shaky, uncertain. It becomes, you just kind of accept it. But isn't there something to say about the person that's accepting it, that they probably need to look at some of the feelings about themselves too that allow
absolutely,
that?
absolutely. And I'm not going to speak for other people because whenever I talk about, I'm telling you from my life, because
Hmm.
I'm sure that my life mirrors every other person's life that has been in this situation.
Right.
So you get caught up in the gifts, the dinners. I went to the best, finest restaurants. I had
Yeah.
furs, I had diamonds, I had nice clothes, shoes, all that. But you never have them. But the thing is that you accept that because you're lacking something. Like, what are you lacking? What are you, and not to say because you are lacking that this behavior is acceptable. It's that you're lacking it and you don't see your worth.
Yeah.
You don't see the damage that is being done to you because you are so desperate for the attention, so desperate for the love, that
Right.
you will accept anything from anybody because you haven't embraced who you are, your self worth, your self
Right.
esteem. Are you dealing with abandonment issues? Are you dealing with rejection issues? What is going on with you that you need to tune into and fix? And that's where I was. I had to fix some things about myself. And, I prayed, I asked God, why did you allow this to happen? And every time I would pray, he would tell me, well, let me tell you about you. I'm like, I didn't ask you.
There we go. Now we're talking.
And I said, so I just stopped praying. I was like, okay, so you want to be like that? Because that's how I talk to God.
Yeah, me too.
You
I'm with
know,
you. Yeah.
I just said, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. I'm not going to ask you about it anymore because it's his fault. Why did you allow it to happen? And then when I kept hearing it repeatedly, I said, let me look and see what's going on with me. Why do I keep making the same choices? Why do I keep picking the same type of people?
Mm,
So I had to
mm,
do some very extensive work on myself. And I'm
yeah,
still doing it because healing is a journey. It's not a sudden stop. It's not
that's right.
a final destination. It's not one and done. It's
That's right.
continuous. I'm healed to
That's
this
right.
point, and I still have more to do. But now I
Mm,
can forgive. I can move forward. If I seen him with someone else, hey, more power to you,
yeah,
girl.
yeah,
Um,
yeah.
it doesn't bother me, but it took a very long period to get through that. The trauma bonding that I had to deal with, the ruminating I had to deal with, the why me, how come, what's wrong with me. It's a
Hmm.
plethora of things that I had to deal with in order to be where I'm at today.
Well, yeah, too. And Doc, it wasn't just that incident, but as you know, the real healing process begins when we really go. We got to go backwards to move forward.
Hmm.
So you're not only healing from that, but there were some other wounds that were already operating that you just stacked this one on top of, that you found some relief to peel off all those layers, like you
Hmm.
said. So and that's where most people stop, though. They just stop at this immediate need and then go on to the next relationship, and
Right.
then don't really do the deep healing that you're talking about doing and expressing, and it takes some work.
It takes
right?
work. And if not, you're going to pick the same person again. You're
You
going to
pick
pick
the
the same
same person.
person again.
Yeah, and they're wondering why the same things are happening, right? And but the pattern recognition hasn't happened yet. You know there's a pattern, but you haven't accepted that it's wrong and begin to change it in the emotional stuff. I love this conversation because the gift of it is where you sit today.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Yeah.
I'm just excited about that. All through this journey of healing, I went to school. I got my doctorate. The book that I wrote, "Wolf Behind the Cross: The Hidden Secrets Behind Wolf Behind the Cross: The Hidden Secrets Behind the Church," was a bestseller in 4 categories,
Mm.
and it's a story that needs to be told, and it's a story. My story is her story, his story, their story. But you can't be ashamed and you can't be embarrassed
Mm.
about telling your story, because in order to heal what is happening now, you have to stop lying about what happened.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah.
And sometimes it's easier to just, and if you don't want to say lie, wear a mask
Yeah.
and portray the person that you're not. But when you're home, that's who you really are. And I was very good at that. I had lots of masks. And, it's not only, wearing a different face. You can use drugs, you can use sex, you can use whatever it is that's going to
Hmm.
pacify you to make you feel of value because you don't
Yeah.
value yourself.
Yeah. 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 And I love the reference to the mask, right? And you just peel off one, put one on. It's peel them, put it on, peel it, put it off, and never really getting to the root of the deep cause and doing that. So are you let's talk about reclaiming of your voice in this journey. Because you said you were homeless and some other things and all this stuff happened. You're reclaiming when you decided that, you know what, come on, Doc, I've had enough. When your bottom was evident, how did that journey begin?
I think that you have to get to the point where when you, for me, the point was when I continued to pray and God continued to tell me about myself.
Mm.
And we want to be oblivious to that. But like the scripture says, he's not a man that he should lie. So why is he going to lie to you about who you are?
Yes.
So accept the fact and start to do something about it. And that's what I did. I realized that all throughout my life, I was always trying to be something or someone else, or wishing I could be like this person, or wishing I could be like that person.
Mm.
And being a people pleaser, being a yes person,
Mm.
because that's what I needed to be for me to feel accepted, because that's what I
Yeah.
experienced in my childhood.
Yep.
And we don't understand the impact of what happens to us in our childhood, nor do our parents that do it
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
think that they are providing the best for us that they can possibly provide, or
Hmm.
maybe they know they're doing it.
Yeah.
But I don't think that my parents did. And so you grow up with that spirit of rejection, that spirit of, less than whatever the
Yeah.
situation is, because
Yeah.
that little girl inside never got to grow up and you never got to mature her. And like you said, one of my things I say a lot is to women is that we know we have issues, but we just keep pressing them down and pressing them down. And every now and then, like weeds, how they break through the grass,
Yeah.
surface,
Yeah.
and they're exposed. But what do you do with them? Do
That's
you,
right.
or you do
That's right.
fix them?
That's right.
So it's a deep spiritual, psychological,
Oh
healing.
yeah.
It's mind, body, and spirit. You can't do one without the other. You have to do all three in order
Agree.
to, properly, holistically.
Yeah.
And it was a lot of work. And I'm still in therapy. I still do a lot of work. I'm not ashamed to say that. And before, oh my God, I don't want anybody to know I'm in therapy. I didn't even want anybody to know that this happened. So
Let
I'm
alone.
ready to leave after 2 months. And I'm like, no,
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and work on it. I'm gonna try and fix it. It was unfixable. It was unfixable.
Mm.
But I thank God that He got me out. I
Yeah.
many women that have been in these relationships for 15 years, 10 years, 30 years. They are devastated. I know women that have been, institutionalized, women that have killed
Mm.
them, that behind the life that they led with a narcissist. And some stay, you know,
Yeah.
like in the church, you know,
Hmm.
lady, um, she's first lady and the prestige and all of the honor and all of that is more important than you healing your spirit.
Yeah.
You'd rather walk around being fake, is the best way I like to say it,
Sure.
than know that you have some underlying problems, but when you are out in the limelight with the people, you're like, yes, we have the best marriage and everything is fine, and we're taking pictures. And I did it. I did it. I did it all. That you have done that I haven't done or experienced. But
Yeah.
I am here to tell you that it's time for you to realize your self worth and rise up and be the woman of God that He called you to be, and stop being, cowering down to someone that makes you feel less than. And, what goes on. I call it the behind the door experience. They don't see that. They
Mhm.
only see the front door experience.
Yeah.
So let them see the behind the door experience. They wouldn't believe me.
Yeah. 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 No, I'm sitting here listening to you and thinking, this, and really, this lifestyle doesn't discriminate between male or female, right? Because you were talking about our parents, and I was thinking about mine, and from doing some similar work, I realized that my parents did the best they could with what they had, but the things that they didn't know had a direct impact on how I saw myself, right? Because children don't know things, and they either have a place that they can go with confusion, and people help them and nurture them and right curate their feelings and all those things, and allow them to stand on their own 2 feet, or they're told, like I was, that boys don't cry, be a man, that didn't hurt, all these things that at a certain point, that's the message that I had. And then the kids around us tell us how either great we are or how stupid we are, and I was on that side, how goofy we look. Right? I had a large cranium like I have now, right? So they call me, I think it was air waterhead or something like that. So I mean, just all those nicknames, right? And we did. Then men, I was stuffing. I was a dressed up garbage can, right? I mean, I always on the outside looked good, but on the inside, I didn't know that I didn't know,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and finally surrendered that stuff. But I love what you're talking about, and but I don't want to say it's harder for ladies to surrender that, but what do you think? Is it harder than
I
men
think
to
I think
surrender?
that it is harder for women because we're nurturers,
Mm,
we're healers, we're rescuers.
yeah.
And, for you to realize that, you put so much into a man and not the right man, what are you going to do about that? Right now I'm writing a book called Queens, You're Settling. Wearing
Mm,
crowns when you are starving, wearing a crown while starving from crumbs, because you just take anything, you just take anybody because you just want to
yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And until you realize who you are, will you change? But because of who you are as a woman, how God made you as a woman, you have to really realize where you can put that. Who deserves to have that? Not everybody deserves to have that. And if you had any self-worth, you would realize that no, he's not the one. He doesn't deserve this. But
Yeah.
if you have that low self-esteem, rejection, all those things, all those emotional trauma issues that have not been addressed, and you will continue to do it and
Yeah.
continue to find ways to make it for you acceptable because everyone else can see that it's not.
Right.
But
Right.
you,
And you changed it, and the definition of insanity applies to you, but you've changed it. You rationalized and justified it as something else.
mhm,
And self worth and self esteem is by far how we see ourselves is how we be ourselves.
mhm,
Right? No matter what is going on, and the messaging that we tell ourselves is how we see ourselves, and it's really difficult, and it makes it even harder. But I believe this from a when I look at my queens, I'm saying y'all have amazing recovery gifts.
mhm.
I mean, because dealing with knuckleheads like us on top of everything else in this place, we don't make life easy. Right? And I talk to my brothers and say, man, we've got to, but it's about them healing themselves before they can be able to really appreciate and value you like we're supposed to.
Mhm.
Right.
And for
So,
me, I feel like men, it's a learned behavior because they hang
mhm,
around, their friends that, maybe might be womanizers, you know, feel as though, they're God's gift to women, all those different things that men sit around and talk about. And then you are with them, so you want to mirror them, you want to be like them, you all want to be the same.
yeah.
When you can't, when you need to break away from that, being exposed to that type of behavior if you want to be somebody different. But if you don't, I know someone that was like that, like,
Mhm,
a follower, had some learned behaviors from the people that they hung
mhm,
around with, went to church, became something in the church, but never really healed. But they changed, they said. But they're
mhm,
the same. They're just
yeah.
a real Christian, for a better term. You're still doing the same thing and thinking that that title makes you different, but you haven't
Yeah.
changed. And until you change holistically, like we said, mind, body, and spirit,
Hmm.
will continue to do some of those same learned behaviors. You might not do as many, or you do them unaware because you've
Yeah.
been doing them for so long.
You run
So
on automatic pilot. That pattern is there. It's just you get up the same side of the bed every day, put your shoes on the same foot first, pants up the same way, or dress. All those are patterns that, after a while, just take control of our lives, and then we justify it by what we say to ourselves and how we say it to ourselves. But then at some point, you've had enough. Yours was pretty clear about being in the car and finding out and talking about another. I mean, that makes it really kind of like, it doesn't really leave you many choices, but some will still stay in those situations,
mhm.
right? Whatever they do to absolve themselves from the real feelings from that, to stay there. I mean, it's really. I love how you keep going back to the real core of it. It's just the self-esteem and self-worth, right? And because that's really, uh, really, really, really the thing that kind of we all drag along
Right.
behind us, right? In the new relationships, we're still dragging that along. It's a new work, responsibility, opportunity, or business. We still drag that along, and at some point, though, I mean, you put it down, and so when you really started to feel some freedom, how was that like for you?
It was very refreshing to finally realize that I was able to start to work on myself and to see the metamorphosis of the woman that God always created me to be. I thought that I was her, but I wasn't. And
Yeah.
now I know that I'm her because I've had to deal with all of that. You know, one of the things I teach in my class is I give women stones, these plain stones with nothing on them. And I ask them to write that one heavy baggage, that
Mm.
heavy emotional trauma on that stone. And there's an exercise that they do. They keep that stone for about 4 weeks because that's how long the class is. They're 4 weeks at a time. And I had them go to this hidden place. And it's a whole bunch of different things that they do.
Mm.
But, you know, one day I was thinking about that. And like you said, that's what made me remember it. We walk around almost like with that backpack,
Yeah.
with all of those stones in there.
Yes.
And we just keep putting stone on top of stone on top of
Yeah.
stone. How long can you carry that
Mm.
before you realize that something is so heavy and you need to unload it? You have to
Right.
unload that.
That's right. Get unpack it.
So take those stones out. So at the end of the class, that one stone that they had, they put that on the altar because I teach at my church. I gave
Mm.
them another stone that was blank. And I said, I just want you to hold this because that's what you let go and you're going to walk around with no more bondage.
Mm.
You'll be able to do it. It's 4 week class. That's
Yeah.
just, you know, baby steps. But just to instill that in people, like we're going to start fresh. We put that trauma down. We got
Yep.
this clean slate and let's move forward.
Yeah.
And it's something that we have to realize that we are carrying this baggage around with all of the stones, all of the issues, all of the you know situations, like they said, like the
Yep.
kids, situations, contentment, all of those different things, you know, soul ties, all of that's in there.
Yep.
So when are you
Yep.
going to open it, take it off, open it, and start unpacking
Mm.
and getting rid of some of that?
Yeah.
And you can do it, but you have to
Yeah.
come to a place in your life that you value who you are.
Mm.
And that's where you have to be. That's where you
Yeah.
have to become.
And oftentimes it's in that place when you value yourself the least that when you're at that point where it's where do you go,
Mhm.
right? And I believe that's when that journey begins. Right? When you feel like there's nothing left, and that weight is just it's covered you. You pull it up and it's covered over your head and it barely breathe, right? And but then there's that the grace of God that shows up in
Mhm.
all of us, for all of us, and does that. And so I like that. Finding peace, power, and identity is kind of like what all that summarizes, because you obviously have some peace, and I can feel your power in the identity around who you've become. And you're just getting started.
Yes.
Right? You just getting started. Come on now, man. The beautiful part about for me is I see so many different people in it, and I love to I've watched you and just kind of over it's been almost a year or more, and just the things that you're doing for women and how I love the fact that you don't sugarcoat things,
No.
um, you know, which is kind of what happens when you start talking about with these activities in church, right? It's
Mhm.
kind of it gets to be hush hush, and everybody turns away from that, and I think that has to stop.
It absolutely has to. I learned this. It's not new, but for me, it's the spiritual bypassing that
Mm.
that is put on people. You know, if I'm hurting, I don't want to hear that God doesn't put more on you than you can bear. I know that. Okay. Now, tell me something today that is going to
Yes,
help me with this situation that I have. You know,
yes,
come talk to me. Come
yes,
just sit and sit with me. Whatever it is that I need, give me that. Because
yes.
all the time, for me, I'm going to speak for
Mm.
me.
Yes, right.
I don't want to hear you're praying. I don't want to hear scripture. I know them. I know them.
Mm.
So now let's move forward on how we can help, how you can help me. You know,
Yeah.
just like when you pray about a situation or you put it at the altar, when you go back to your seat, when your prayer is over, that thing is still there.
Still there.
But God has given you power. And when are you going to start utilizing that power? Faith without works is dead. You're going to, well, I prayed, and you know what? I'm going to sit here and I'm going to wait for God to fix it. I'm not going to do anything else.
Yeah.
I'm just going to do that. You have to learn to pick up and that power that He has given you and start
Yes.
utilizing it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
that spiritual bypassing and all of that. I love my church. I am a woman of God, anointed, filled with the Spirit, all of that. But reality and realness is just that. You know, in the church, they're not trained for trauma. They're not
Yeah.
trained to deal with emotional bondage and
Yeah.
baggage. Some of them have it themselves.
Yeah.
So how are they going to help me to heal when they haven't
That's
healed?
right. That's right.
So I noticed that some churches now are incorporating like mental health people to help with that.
Mm-hmm.
And it's very needed. And I'm
Yeah.
so thankful to say that my church is one of those that
That's
does
awesome.
that.
Yeah.
And
That's
it's needed because you can't keep sugarcoating what's going on. You
that's
have to
right.
face it and you have to address it with truth,
That's right.
authenticity, and
That's right.
transparency. And yes, we
That's
know
right.
God can heal it just like that if that's what wants to do. But sometimes He wants you to see what you're doing wrong.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
start working on yourself
Yeah.
and become who He said that who He created you to be. And you got to work for that. I had to work for where I'm at right now, and
That's right.
I'm continuing to work.
Yeah. The work is, like I say, you're just getting started. The work never stops,
Mm-mm.
right? And especially for those that have been called, the work really never stops. And you're right. He wants to see from you through your action, right? Not just the talk, but through your action as to whether or not you're hearing him and you're obeying, right?
Right.
And so to wait for God, that's not what he says. I like to say, every day my wife and I we have this prayer where we pray like it depends on God and work like it depends on us. That
Hmm.
part we can control.
That's
Okay.
right. That's right.
And the other part of it is on him. And so I love this, but sometimes it's easier to have justifications that allow us to stay stuck in that familiar pain, right? Where we're comfortable.
Exactly. That's some of the people that I deal with. I'm like, so when do you think you're going to realize what's going on? How long are you going to tell me? But he does nice things for me, or he buys me this or he does that, and then I hear like he buys me things, but he buys me things with my money.
Yeah.
So, you really it's really self-evaluation and self-preservation, I guess, for lack of a better term, because
Yeah.
until you start feeling good about yourself, you are always going to let a bad thing make you feel good because it's like, oh my God, I have that attention. Oh my
Yeah.
God, he bought me this. And
Yeah.
I remember one time I told him, I said, he bought me this beautiful diamond necklace. I was like, oh my God, this is really nice. I said, but if you could just spend time with me, you don't have to
Mm.
even spend money for those things.
Yeah.
Well, that's how queens are. That's what, when you see on TV, when you watch TV and you see queens, they have nice things. So me and my stupid self, not stupid self, me and my
No,
black.
you.
It's like, okay, so you didn't see like on TV when they went home in the house how he was nice to her and he was good
Yeah.
to her. He wasn't
Yeah.
just buying her things.
Yes.
And the more I did that, the quicker he started to degrade me and the
Yeah.
value. It's a whole process. It's the love
Yes.
bombing, it's the degrading, and then the devaluing, and then you're gone.
Yeah.
They're on to the next, because like you
Hmm.
said, their healing is not therapeutic or um what's the word I'm trying to think of? Not therapeutic or using other tools. I can't think of the word I'm trying to think of.
Yeah. 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 I don't want to put words in your mouth.
It's they go to the next,
Yeah. What's
because their
next?
healing is that this person interventional
Yes.
other interventional things that you can do.
Yeah.
Their healing is, I'm going to go over here because she doesn't know anything about me.
That's right.
And I'm going to tell her, you know what, my last person did this and they did that. And half of the things, I realized that everything that he told me about his previous wife was who he was, what he did.
Who he was. Yes.
And that's what they
Yeah.
tell you, because they can't heal. Well, take me because, oh, woe is me. I'm the victim. They did this, they did that. But I'm not going
Yeah.
to tell you what I did to instigate
Yeah.
it. But
Yeah.
it is what it is. But thank
And you're
God,
probably not gonna ask him. You're probably not gonna ask him
because they're going
either.
to try and fix it.
Yeah. Yeah. They're
Trying
gonna
to be
fix it.
better than
Yeah.
her.
Oh, well, I won't do that. I'll do this better. I won't. It's,
And I never said that, because I was like, I don't have to try and be like anyone. I'm going
yeah.
to be like myself.
That's right.
And I just kept hearing, she did this and she did that and da 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 da. No, you did that and you did this, and that's probably why she did that. But again, their accountability, there is none.
There is none. Accountability, truth, and justification and rationalizations are more of how they operate, and finding your way out is the blessing,
Is the best
and then
thing.
working on yourself. I mean, because you're in any relationship that has conflict and issues, and you come out of it, you really need to look at your part in it, and you've done that, and you teach people how to do that now. So, and as I look at what we have here, we've talked about healing emotional trauma and some of the things you've done, and breaking the cycles of abuse and silence by standing up and speaking your truth, and I love that. So, how can you, in the next minute or two, how do you want to leave this conversation tonight, Doc? I mean, I know we've kind of been all over the place with things, but how can you kind of tie it up for us, for that woman out there that is like you were, at the beginning, that has a chance, that's listening, that maybe the words that we share tonight will be the words that set them free.
I think for me, what I want to say to that woman is to respect yourself enough to realize that you have some work to do. Don't be
Mm,
embarrassed. Don't be ashamed. But like I said, you cannot heal what's happening now when you continue to lie about what happened then. So you have to embrace the situation and identify it. Like I said to
mm.
you when we were talking, if it quacks like a duck, it's a duck. But I want to help you to understand that in order for you to begin to heal, what you have to do is reveal what's going on inside of you, so that you
Yeah,
can begin to identify, oh, I have low self-esteem. I have some, issues with rejection, abandonment. What is it that you have to work on? And you know what? Be okay with it.
mm,
Be okay with it. Just like it says in the Bible, to rise up. You have to rise up above. And God will give you beauty for your ashes, because I'm sitting right here to tell you that.
yeah, yeah,
All of the things that I accomplished. Through all that, I'm now Dr. Valerie Stancill. Through all that stupidity, I speak to women. I help women to heal. I write books. I do all of that. I could have sat there and just been like, yeah, that's who I am. But I'm just gonna, wallow in my sorrow and my pity. I'm gonna cower down and not
yeah.
be who I'm supposed to be. Honey, you better put that chest out and
Come on,
embrace
Doc.
who you are and be that.
Yeah,
And not be ashamed.
yeah. I love that. And Isaac Sam, two of his favorite people, Isaac Burden and Andreas
Yes. All
Nadal, say hi. Hey, sorry, guys, I just saw the comments from other folks, so I apologize for that. I was kind of, I don't know why I didn't see it, but thank you for stopping in and always supporting us in that. And I love what you said. I felt that. I felt that, Doc. And it's, can I just add to this and say, and remember, y'all deserve it.
Yes.
You deserve it. No matter what you're carrying, whatever that bag behind you that you're dragging, you're carrying, you deserve it.
You deserve
Yes.
it. Stop trying
You're
to be
well.
that strong woman. That's another thing that I don't like. We didn't talk about that.
Yeah, we'll have to come back and chat around the strengths because I'm doing some things with men around, using strength as a disguise behind right behind that silent treatment, that retreat, and then the woman's trying to fix him and figure out what's going on, and really it's about the lack of ability to be vulnerable, lack of ability to be truthful and be honest because of old wounds from years ago. I always tell a story about when I don't know how old I was, but I was in this big crowd and I told this girl I liked her, and she looked at me and said some things and just made me feel like about like that big. And I said, I will never say, I will never say that again. So we learned some things, right? And you never say never. I mean, those are all things I've learned to heal along the way, like what you've talked about. So
We
this has been
always learn.
fantastic. Yeah, always learning and doing that stuff. So how do people get a hold of you before I let you get out of here?
You can
It's been
find me on Facebook. My name is Dr. Valerie Stancill on Facebook. If you want to shoot me a text, if you want to shoot me an email, my email is info.healingheartsempowered@gmail.com. And just reach out to me. Reach out to me through DM. However, women reach out to me that I don't even know on DM, and I'm here to help. It's just that's my purpose. I didn't go through this. I went through this for myself, but I went through this to help women like you. I want you to become empowered. I want you to own your voice, heal your heart, and love your life.
yeah. Own your voice, heal your heart, and love your life. I mean, what better way to close it than that? And Andrea's saying all the way from Venezuela saying, thank you for the healing lessons and all that. He's a powerful man in a country so far away from us. It's just beautiful that we are able to reach lives all over the place. Yes, sir. He says, blessings to you, Dr. Stansfield.
Thank
And I
you.
want to say thank you for this and love to have you back. And I have so many notes that, I'm going to go back and watch this again because it's Isaac. Thank you, man. I appreciate you. And let's make sure we stay in touch. And I really, again, want to thank you. If you have a minute, want to close up, if you can wait till I can get back to you, I'd really appreciate that.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much, Doc. We'll see you. All right, so hey Isaac and Andreas, thank you guys for all your support. We appreciate it, man. And if you get a chance, share this clip with some folks in your circle, man, and particularly around some ladies that we all know that could use that, sisters, nieces, right? Anyone or men as well in this space, because it is about how we see ourselves and how we feel about ourselves and the importance of taking action and doing the results. So I want to thank everybody that is supporting us so far today, and here's the replay, and make sure that you show some love to Dr. Stancill and really go back and listen to this. I mean, there were so many subtle little nuggets that she dropped along the way, and particularly if men or women, because either one, if y'all are in a situation and you're smelling some stuff and it smells kind of like a little disruptive, then trust yourself. Trust yourself and reach out to her or Maria, and don't continue to stay stuck in a space that no longer serves you. And I get it. We get it. We both told y'all, about our experiences, and she laid it out for you. I mean, there's a whole lot more we could have gotten into. I hope to get her back to do that. Yeah, thank you. We appreciate you too. And you take care of yourself, Andreas. And so, again, I want to thank Conversations with Geoff and Come Back King Enterprises for helping us put this thing together. And our guests has really came out here and delivered some real truth to all of this that we've learned today. And remember this, like we say at Come Back King Enterprises, that your life is about to come back as a lifestyle and not a struggle. You heard the doc, right? Sitting in the car with a friend and listening to her ex-husband talking to another woman about her. And today's celebrating 1 year into a PhD. So we do not stop. What hurts us strengthens us. And it's all about finding gifts in the comeback. So y'all have a great day. Thank everybody for showing up. We'll see you next week. And again, thanks to our doc, our guest that just showed up today for dropping some real fire. You guys take care, and we'll see you later. Have a good night.